Hello, happy Sunday. Um, I'm excited about this one because it's in here, it's in Letting God, and I've read this many times, and I put 2015 in here. So 2015, I was separated from my husband, but living in the house with him, and I had not definitely, I had thought probably I was getting a divorce, but I wasn't sure. But things in 2015 and early 2016 that made me decide on the divorce. But anyways, that's interesting. And I found out more information on this story, and I will tell you as I read it. For he makes his sun to rise on the evil and on the good, and sends rain on the just and the unjust. Matthew 5:45. Many people who have visited Reims Cathedral in France hear the story of the glorious rose window that is the jewel of that church. Okay, so I was like, I need to look this up. And I'm glad I did, because I didn't realize that is Notre-Dame Cathedral. And so I will link to this article that I have on my computer right here, because there was a fire in 2019. And so this article that I'll link to below is Paris gains hope as Notre Dame's iconic rose windows are reported safe. So during World War II, so many hear the story of the glorious rose window that is the jewel of that church. I didn't realize that it was the same church that was burned in the fire, Notre Dame Cathedral. You know, and the same one in the Hunchback of Notre Dame story. Okay. During World War II, the rose window was shattered. Immediately after this disaster, the townspeople rushed from their homes and laboriously and lovingly gathered up every single bit and piece of lead and glass. When the war ended, the town called in skilled artisans to build a new rose window using the shattered fragments of the old, now made even more magnificent through their devotion. In our God-given freedom, we are vulnerable. We can be shattered and crushed. What was beautiful and precious in our lives can become broken and shattered, but God picks up our pieces and saves them for the time when we can be put back together again. Christians are not insulated from hurt and harm. God doesn't prevent disasters in our lives. He sends sunshine and rain on everyone. After all, God's own Son suffered unspeakable pain. Disciples are called to follow their master for better or worse. Nevertheless, in every collapse and decay are the seeds of new life and new glory. God does not want anything to go to waste. He will help us gather up the bits and pieces of our lives and rebuild us into stronger and even more beautiful windows for His love to shine through. He may not protect us from all harm, but He will always restore and renew us to a shining new Easter resurrection of our very own in a life that begins today. O risen Lord, keep me close to your side. Keep me from despair. Keep my hope alive. Make me a new window to your glory. Amen. Yeah, that's pretty cool and reminds me of something else that I want to show you. so it might have been 2015, because it was, I don't know what year it was. A few years ago. Well, let's start with my fireplace in the big house. The two things that, well, there are a lot of things really that my ex took forever to finish. One was connecting up the gas to the huge, he got a commercial stove and oven. He got it before the house was finished, and it was ridiculous because it wasn't hooked up to gas. He didn't get that all taken care of until years after we were in the house. We moved in the house in 2001, but it wasn't nearly finished. But one thing was the fireplace. The fireplace wasn't finished, and but he got the gas logs in it working. So I would still sit in front of the fire, and I had this mantle that was temporary, and I shouldn't have ever put anything, I should have never put anything breakable on it, but I had these blue pictures, vases, and one was a picture from my mom. My mom had a lot of, I could show you the vase, but the vase I kept, but a lot of stuff in the blue and white, like this bell. And one day I've been sitting by the fire. I think I turned it on, the gas logs, and I didn't like pull back far enough, and I hit my head on the mantle, and my beautiful things I had all the blue, the white and blue. I probably have a picture of it. I should look, and I can probably post that on Instagram or on my community tab, since I have that now, of all the blue things I had. And so some of them broke. One thing that just shattered in a lot of pieces was a picture that was blue and white. It was really pretty, that my brother Paul had given my mom, and Paul passed away in 2002. There's so much to this story. His ashes at one time had been in it too, and I was just heartbroken that I bumped the temporary mantle. When he finally made the mantle, it was beautiful, and then he made a mosaic. I just remembered this, like I had forgotten all about it. Like, you know, I've been out of that house since 2016, but he made a mosaic of a tree. You know, my first book is the 7-story tree, but I asked him to make the mosaic of the tree in the hearth, by the fireplace. And so, so the picture was broken, and I had it in a box in the laundry room, and it was either, it was funny because the date on the devotion is 2015, and it might have been around that time, because it was sometimes before I moved out of the house. I moved out of the house in 2016, August 2016. But so my daughter Lydia was a teenager, I think like a freshman in high school then. And she is a very good like organizer, and would organize things and go through things and all that. And she was in our laundry room sorting through things one day, and she found the box with a broken picture in it. And she said, like, what can I do with it? You know, like, can I throw this away? I call her like Marie Kondo. Like when I read Marie Kondo's book, I'm like, Lydia could do this business, could do what Marie Kondo does. So, and I said to her, I was like, oh, you know, that was, you know, from my mom and from my brother. And, you know, both of them had passed away. My mom passed away in 2009. My brother had passed away in 2002. And I got the picture after my mom passed away. And so I told her that I was thinking of making one of those things with the pieces, making something out of it with the pieces, since it was just too shattered to glue back together. Because some of the things I glued back together, the big heavy vase, I think it was like on the end, or like, I think I caught some of the stuff before it fell or something. I don't remember, it was so long ago. But I have the vases downstairs, so Gladys' kitchen is blue, so I was like, you don't care if I set this here, because I have been taking it, I took it around in my RV. It's one of the few things that I kept, because I kept just a few little precious things, so everything I kept fit in my car when I came up here and bought my RV, and then it all fit in my RV, of course, because it fit in my car. So Lydia said, oh, okay, so she saved it, right? Well, that Christmas, Lydia gave me my stuff out of it. This is made, Lydia made it, my youngest made it, with the pieces from the picture that broke. This was the best Christmas present ever. I have received some good Christmas presents though. But this was one of the best Christmas presents ever. Isn't that pretty? So it used to be on my coffee table. At Red's Airbnb, Red's house. So anyways, yeah. And I'm happy to hear that the Notre-Dame Cathedral rose window is preserved too from the fire too, another catastrophe. So that's my Diva for today. Love y'all. I hope that I will hear from Lydia someday. Anyways. Yeah, it's funny that it turned out that I mentioned this because I had dreams about Lydia this morning. But anyways, love you, Lydia. My number's still the same. Call me. My email's still the same. Email me. Love you. Bye.